welcome back to Azure Terraformer. Today we are going to continue mission on our Azure Function by leveraging the Telemetry client within both our function and in our service component to track a custom event. So there's a lot you can do with the iLogger interface, but one of the things that you can't do is interact directly with features of application insights. In order to do that, you need to use the Telemetry client. So while the iLogger interface does provide a robust way and a decentralized way of enabling logging and diagnostics information to be able to be created from any component within your system, having access to an application insights telemetry client can help you take your observability to the next level by tracking critical events and hydrating those critical events with contextual information that can help you diagnose issues in complex systems. This could include correlation identifiers that your operations teams can use to track down specific transactions. You could also annotate events with business context, such as maybe you have a multi-tenant solution. You can attach a tenant identifier to identify specific tenant activity within your system. The use cases are endless. And so it's very useful to leverage the telemetry client. So today we're going to set up this telemetry client and we're going to track some events. So without further ado, let's get started. So first of all, I'm going to just add this to my function and we're going to try and track an event from my function. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to declare a telemetry client. But in order to use the telemetry client, I need to add a few NuGet packages. So let me go add those NuGet packages. So I need to include Microsoft.application insights, and now I can resolve that reference to that type. Another NuGet package that I need is application insights for ASP.NET Core. Now that I have that, I need to add another reference to an extensibility feature of application insights so that I can pass in the telemetry configuration. This is going to allow me to construct a telemetry client. So Azure Functions by default, because I have told Azure Functions that I want to use application insights, it automatically hooks things up because I provided the connection string. That means that all I need to do is get access to the telemetry configuration that's already in my Azure Function in order to construct a telemetry client. And so now that this has been injected into my method, I can construct a telemetry client just by passing in the telemetry configuration. And so now with this newly constructed telemetry object, I can start tracking events. So let's push this code update and test it in production.
A few moments later.
Okay, so that code has been deployed. Let's go try and add some events to the logs. So we are seeing the tracing come through, the logging coming through, and we're seeing our first event, Azure Function event. Let's see if it comes in the transaction search. There you go, we have our custom event here. And we can see that we have an event name. We don't have any real additional information. Now, where custom events can get really exciting is when you can add additional attributes to them. So if we go back and we look at our code and we look at where we're tracking this event, we can pass an additional attribute that passes in a dictionary. Now this dictionary is going to be a dictionary of strings. So you can see here that I've created this dictionary and I've added two items to this dictionary, foo and bar, with values 5 and 41. And I've attached this dictionary to this track event such that we're going to add additional details to this event that's happening. Obviously, foo and bar aren't the most interesting pieces of information to attach to this custom event. But if you're trying to track feature usage, or if you're trying to track certain transaction and maybe some of the values on it, don't embed secrets. That's bad. You don't want to have secrets coming through in your application insights. But basically little landmarks that can help you identify a specific event and provide you what values are coming through can help you really do a much better job diagnosing issues that are happening within your code base. So let's push this code and let's see how this manifests itself within the App Insights console.
A few moments later.
Okay, so that code is deployed. Let's send a few events. Let's send a few requests onto the function. And it does look like we're seeing these events come through. And notice we see bar equals 41 and foo equals 5. So in the live stream, we're seeing we're seeing the event come through with those attributes attached now, which means we know that the code that we just deployed is out there and currently in production. So now if I go and I look for those events within the transaction history, looks like this might be a good one. And there we go. I can see foo and bar here as additional custom properties. And if you want to filter for just custom events, like let's say you want to see how many times a particular event happened, right? You just filter based on custom event, and then you can also filter based on custom event name and only show the custom events that you want to see. So of course, again, this is a sample. Azure Function event is not a super useful event name. This might be a better name would be probably tied to a user action that they took, maybe as a user registration or user purchase request or something like that. That's more meaningful to your business, but just wanted to give an example here. And so we can kind of filter and see all of the events that are happening, and it does give us a nice little dashboard of like how many of those events happened over this period of time. So now we've done this to the Azure Function. Let's do it to any class, any component within our solution. Because we have dependency injection set up, all I have to do is go add this telemetry configuration, and then I can construct a telemetry client anywhere in my code base. Of course, I am going to need those NuGet packages in order to use the App Insights SDK wherever I do that. So if I go put this into my bulk request processor, which is a service, and I want to add that here, I'm going to need those same NuGet references, those same NuGet packages that I set up previously. Otherwise, I won't be able to resolve this type. So let me go add those dependencies, and we'll get this going. So both of these App Insights assemblies are what I need. And so now I do want to have a private read-only instance of my telemetry client, and we pass in the telemetry configuration. Now the reason why this works is because Azure Functions is wiring this up for us on our behalf simply by passing in the App Insights connection string and the App Insights instrumentation key. So that's really what's going on there. So I'm going to track an event, and I'm just going to call this inside the service. Well, inside the bulk request processor. Again, not a super great name, but let's push that code and see if we can get this to show up as well.
A few moments later.
Okay, that code is deployed as well. Let's go put a couple requests on there, and we can see that event from inside the bulk request processor is also being fired. And I'm going to need to remove this filter, otherwise I won't be able to see my new event because I gave it a different name. So, but of course we're probably going to have to wait for these events to hit, because according to the live metrics that happened at 6:40. So we're still quite a few minutes behind here.
A few moments later.
Okay, so there it is. We have inside the bulk request processor. I can also add a filter based on the custom name, and I can see how many we got coming in. So I got 29 of the Azure Function event and 13 of the inside bulk request processor. And so I can see these come in. Now, bulk request processor event does not have any attributes, so we're not seeing those. But again, you can see how clean of an implementation this is simply by injecting the telemetry configuration into any class that you have within your solution. You can construct a telemetry client and then start using track event. You can also start using any of the native App Insights capabilities. Of course, trace is automatically used by our iLogger interface, but and requests are picked up automatically. But if you want to log like custom metrics, If you have areas within your code base that you're actually handling exceptions, you can track exceptions, tracking custom events for feature detection and things like that. Dependencies are picked up automatically, but of course you can add additional explicit dependencies that you track as well as availability. So there's quite a few different options available in the telemetry client. The iLogger interface does kind of do the general trace logging, and I would say the most valuable one is that track event method, followed by the track metric if you're going to do specific custom metric monitoring that you want to build into your application. So that's it. Just wanted to show how easy it was to get App Insights set up within an Azure function. And because we have dependency injection enabled, we can very easily leverage a telemetry client from any class within our Azure Function solution. This makes it super, super easy to take advantage of the features of App Insights and to hydrate your solution with very robust logs and event tracking to help your operators track down issues that might arise for specific situations or specific scenarios. So I hope you found this useful. If you're liking this series, please smash that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. It really helps out a lot. And I think what I'm going to do next is start looking at what we can do from an XUnit standpoint to write unit tests around some of our service code here to really demonstrate the flexibility that this dependency injection technique can give you when building unit tests or integration tests, for that matter, around your code to make sure that it works. So that's what I got coming up. That's it for me today. This is the Azure Terraformer, signing off.